Do a take.
Yeah.
Going. Don't need a count. You'll feel it.
You'll feel it. Okay, let's try it.
Well, the Concise Rock and Roll Primer I did as a demo because I had this whole idea that we all go to school and a lot of South African schools don't do music. You'll never go to rock and roll school. But in fact, it's there because like rock and roll school is like behind the bicycle sheds at an ordinary school.
Good evening, night class. Let's begin at the start. Open books to page 1. Write your names neatly on the Concise Rock and Roll Primer.
It's amazing for any group of people to be together for 40 years and still not only remain friends, but remain creative. I mean, 40 years is a long, long time. I've always felt a special bond with Jonathan. I've always very much respected what he does. His stories, I mean, he writes magnificent stories.
Find a riff, play it loose, never stiff. Chapter 3, write some words all about the suburbs while you stew in a grimy diner. Your peruse.
Jonathan mentioned that in 2017 the Radio Rats will have their 40th anniversary. And then somebody suggested that we do an album to commemorate this. And that's what we're busy recording now. An album for the 40th anniversary and for the Radio Rats.
All of chapter 4 deals with love and war. Do things that are sure to make your music final. All starts off okay, but it ends in disarray.
It's been amazing. I didn't expect this setup. I mean, the way we recorded the first LP was mostly backing tracks, bass drums, and Jonathan just with a guide guitar and Dave singing a little bit in the background. And then it was layered. But this is much more, live.
The Concise Rock and Roller Primer.
I regard Jonathan's music as a challenge, not because it's complicated or anything, but he writes a song, he does a basic demo, and his attitude is, just do this, just try some stuff, go for it. It's almost like a blank canvas with a colour wash on it. So there's some colours you can't use, but most colours you can use.
Use knitting needles and buy drumsticks. All your drums read chapter 6. Band is like a call to brethren.
This album now is totally different because Jonathan is not producing. We're working with Johnny Blundell.
Nowadays, you don't often get to work this way. People want things to be smooth and polished and produced, and if they think that sounding better than somebody else means that it needs to shine and sparkle more than the other one. And with this band, that would be a terrible mistake.
Chapter 4 deals with love and war.
We had to basically record an album in 3 or 4 days. I think when guys have been playing as long as these guys have, the best thing then to do is to really enable everybody just to really have fun, play how they play. It's a matter of what you actually want to achieve. We want to get our authentic and real Radio Rat sound happening. I want them to be able to say to people, this is really cool. This really represents the best that they can sound.
Welcome to the Concise Rock and Roller Primer.
What has amazed me about Jonny is that he's completely hands-off. He sometimes sits there and you think, well, he said nothing, which is wonderful because, I have worked with people before who sort of interrupt your playing and start complaining about something, and then you just get terribly self-conscious because now you have to sort of play differently in a way that you think might make that producer happy. God, he just lets us play.
So say the Concise Rock and Roll Primer.
It's very nice working with Jonny. He doesn't sort of get in the way of things. He makes suggestions and does not do this and do that. It's, shall we try this and shall we try that? And this whole studio environment's great. It's informal enough, but yet the right stuff is here to do the job properly.
It all starts off okay, but then it ends in disarray. Spawning songs.
There's a legacy, and continents haven't really kept them apart. And kudos to Jonathan for continually working on his art.
Jonathan gets an idea and he'll write about 4 or 5, maybe 6 songs. That's like the middle part of it. But then he weaves a story, and then still he'll add in a song or two he'll shoehorn them in.
Concise rock and roll, a primer.
That's the one.
No.
That's fine. I think it's much better to have a Spartan record where you can hear everything and there's not much there. It's basically the guys playing. Mix it nicely. The words are heard, they're nice, decent beats and harmonies and everything. The songs come out and it's all uncluttered and it's real.
If you're lonely on a Friday night, yeah, and your home is quiet, but your heart's alright. Come to my place, which is a sunken gloom, and there's a huge ballroom swept by a witch's broom. And on a table there's a bottle label with a skull and crossbones, and your name is on. It says take 2 teaspoons of rock and roll. Rock and roll. You're bad for the heart, oh yeah. Worse for the soul.
They're a band. They're not a project. They are a band, even if they only play together once every few months or years.
Being in the Rats is just more different than being in any other band. It's a different framework that you work inside or outside. It's liberating. I mean, you don't have to re-record it 15 times so that everything is just like that. That's what it's about, when you really record. And on the one hand, you don't want it to be rubbish so that you can't listen to it later. So, you should have done. And then you don't want it to be soulless, because it can become soulless if you want it to be perfect. I mean, you're going to lose something along the way. You're going to lose a lot of feeling because you're concentrating on getting to the end of the song perfectly.
If you stay home on a Friday night and things are nasty, your heart is quiet. Town the next day is a hot and dry. Sunday looms under a biblical sky.
Alex Bozas brought all these different vintage amps, and then they get to a song and they say, no, let's try this amp for this song. But it's working, it's sounding wonderful. That's what I like about division of labor, Other people do things their way, and it's always better, I think. It can be worse, but I mean, this isn't worse, you can hear it's better.
I think going for a great take and embellishing on that is the best way to record. We're not making Dark Side of the Moon here again.
It says it takes 2 teaspoons of rock and roll. Rock and roll. Bad for the heart, oh yeah. Or worse for the soul. Worse for the soul. You gotta mix it well.
There's 2 things at play, a very conscious level of structure, and he does things for a reason, but then he is able to quickly switch into a spontaneous way to execute it. So he's a master at the deliberate, especially in the lyrics, being very deep and clever, and yet shake it up with spontaneity so that you are able to receive the music, you know.
Without giving away anybody's age here, you know, we wouldn't do this if we weren't excited about this. I think the minute you stop being excited about what you're doing, you must cut it, hey?
It's lekker.
I was more or less halfway through a pack of 30 when I met you.
I mean, the three of them, Jonathan, Dave and Herbie, are the sort of the founder members. And then Riaan came in, and he's a bit of an unsung hero in a way. He's very, very solid.
We actually worked towards this period where we're now recording, but it was months and then weeks, and you could feel the energy building with the Oaks, and when we got together, it was like an explosion, and then there was so much energy, you know, and that's why we could do this album now with fresh ideas, and I think we must live our passion, and that's what we do at the moment.
The party was chaos. I'm not surprised your number got lost.
The combination of bass, drums and guitar has been around since before the 50s, so are we just another rock band, or are we going to do something different? But my view is if they're happy with me as part of the lineup, then I'm so grateful, and I'm very honoured, in fact.
Oh yeah, too insane, yeah. Music was too loud. There was this huge, heaving crowd. Shouted my name in your ear. A fag in one hand, the other appear.
Dave and Herbie and myself, we go right back to the beginning. And it's all pulled together by the rhythm section, you know, Herbie and Riaan. Riaan has done a lot of songs with me, and Gil even more. And Dave is Dave. I think between the five of us, we've done a hell of a lot of music. You just become like this organism. You don't have to look at each other, you just play. And I mean, if we rehearsed, then we can handle anything.
We're not into overproduction, so it will be rock and roll, but it'll be really professionally recorded and produced rock and roll.
Cigarette pack blues. Let this be a lesson to you. Next time you fall in love, don't do any of the above. You gotta carve her name in stone.
Herbie is always saying a Radio Rat song is a song that Jonathan writes, that Dave sings. And there's a trademark there. There's a uniqueness about that. And then, of course, the rawness. There's a bit of a rawness there. It's a bit rough at the edges, and I think that's what makes the Rats a little bit different, you know. They don't want the perfection.
Throwing it all away. Throwing it all away. I'm throwing it all away. Hey, hey, I'm throwing it all away. Hey, 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 I'm throwing it all away. Oh yeah, I'm throwing it all away.
Yes, love songs. Love is something that people are scared of because love is very, very disturbing.
I was sitting in the park one day. The sun was going down. I think it was a Friday. The storm had just hit town. I couldn't help but think of you, the good times that we had. Anyway, here's to you. Sorry I treated you bad.
If you fall in love, it's very close to fear. You've suddenly got this anxiety in your life. It's a terrible thing, actually, but we all seek it. It's quite a scary thing. And what do you do if it's not reciprocated, or if it suddenly ends? it's devastating.
He said he'd seen you late last night in the arms of another man. His words hit me like a punch to the heart. I'm sorry I treated you bad.
When you record with Jonathan, you'll do a take and it's, oh, that was great, and let's do another one. No, but I played, you know, there's a mistake I did it. No, that'll fine, it'll sound cool. And it never does.
One of the golden things that I've taken away from working with this band is that if you are 100% authentic, and if you take money out of the equation, you value yourself to being authentic. So for me to come alongside people doing things for the pure love of music and for art in this way, it's just amazingly refreshing.
Barman looked me in the face. He said, son, what'll you have? I said I'd have my baby back. He said, doubles make you sad.
Rearview Mirror Blues is about being dumped and then reaccepted, you know, like people fight and then boot you out of the car. That song was kind of prompted by a guy called Paul Buerter who rocked up at my house one morning, Saturday morning in Klerksdorp. He had been kicked out of a car by a girl that he had picked up in Potch.
I'm in a rearview mirror, I'm getting smaller all the time. I'm in her rearview mirror, she's leaving me behind. In her rearview mirror, a tiny dot with dust to shoot. I calling out her name, I got the rearview mirror blues. Rearview mirror blues.
He had gone through from his farm. He picked up this girl or something, and then I don't know what happened, and she booted him out of the car. And then he came to me and was knocking on my front door at about 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and I was pissing with rain. And he was wet, and then I had to pay for the taxi as well.
I wonder what I say. I wonder what I did. Did I make fun of her day? Or did she find
Jonathan's lyrics have depth and they have humor, and the songs are actually harmonically very clever. Make no mistake, they're not three-chord rock and roll songs. There often is a simplicity to them, but they're unpredictable, and he always puts really beautiful little sequences in them and chords that are really cleverly written. He has a great sense of songwriting. He's a great songwriter.
brake lights, please turn on. Honey, please turn around. World is blowing cold, and the miles out of town.
So here we've got a brilliant storyteller in league with Dylan and Springsteen and all those guys. I mean, he's just as good as any of them. And I think I add something with my voice. I think I've got some contribution there, and I fiddle with the lyrics here and there, and the too many chords there, Jonny, you know.
Rearview mirror blues. Watch this, I see 2 red lights are flicking. She's coming back to me. Hallelujah.
I think, when you talk about these bands, they run out of ideas. And then they say, okay, well, we've tried this producer, let's get the latest hip producer to produce it. Jonathan has never run out of ideas. He's always working and working. He doesn't have to say, oh, geez, I really don't know what I'm going to record next, I mean, he's been very aware of what he wants to do, so he does it.
Hallelujah. She's coming back to me.
I was listening to The Life of Bach 4 CDs, brilliant, about his life and his music. This guy said that Bach certainly didn't go to charm school. So I thought, okay, charm school. We all went to charm school because we all basically apologize and say thank you, please. In a way, we are humble and we try to be charming and please, etc. Bach would just lose his temper when people didn't play properly or sing properly and rip off his wig and throw it at them and call them a cobbler or something. So I got this whole idea of, you go to school, but at the same time, rock and roll school is there, and at the same time, charm school is like finishing school. So by the time you come out of that, you're into rock and roll, or you're into music, and at the same time, you are kind of pleasing in a way. South Africans don't complain generally, so it's as though we've all been to charm school.
They put him in an unmarked grave, left him there for 200 years, as if he had misbehaved.
One thing I was surprised by in this collection of songs, and I suppose that there actually is evidence of it in the other work, but being close to the fire, as it were, with this and being part of the creation of this, I can see a lot of classical foundation, and that is a nice surprise to see those strains coming through and that approach of Jonathan's, some of the songs being written on a classical guitar, but more than just that, the actual way he creates chord movements, almost like Bach would with a fugue and counter melodies and counterpoint. He definitely has a classical aspect to what he does.
So if you go to charm school and you scratch your name into the wall, you won't see JSB was here, 'cause he wasn't there at all. And that he never ever went there isn't really that hard, 'cause you don't have to go there if your music comes from God. Because he never went to charm school. They put him in an unmarked grave.
Few people have the chance to have a career in the way that we have.
Remember the time that we were.
It's just a wonderful story. It's a wonderful life. I mean, I've had amazing friends for 40, 50 years. The story is never ending. It's just, it's amazing.
Just ran home like bats out of hell. I was that we would rock, roll, never let go.
40 years is a long thing, and we've had little breaks now and again, but the Radio Rats has always been an ongoing thing. It's never been dead. It's always been ongoing, and I'm very happy and proud to be a part of the Radio Rats Incorporated.
In rock and roll school.
Radio Rats is a band that, is not a huge band. I think great success is a great responsibility. It's like winning the lottery, and it usually tears things apart. So we are more a sort of a provincial outfit that is just carried on and always hoping for the big time, not knowing, of course, that when the big time does arrive, if it does arrive, it's going to destroy us. And usually it explodes, it implodes, it just falls apart. That could be us. So thank God we were never that famous. I think that suits me down to the ground.
In rock and roll school.
Dave is still alive. I mean, how nice is that? Brilliant. Herbie's still alive. Thank God, I'm still alive. It's wonderful. We can still play. And Riaan is fit and healthy, and Gil too. It's a wonderful thing, to actually still be able to do it. I don't care what people think. It's great fun. And so it's a big deal for a band to turn 40, for a name like that just to be around. And I mean, it's something out of nothing. It all came from nothing. That just came from playing songs in your bedroom.
Always mindful of the good.
And trying to impress the girls.
Of course.
Outgaze the world. Like a feet that's tightly curled. Quasimodo, monks and ghouls. How we bumped and broke the rules. We never stopped playing the fool.